Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of November 20th, 2022. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. And it is going to be this week that I think a lot of us are going to feel like we didn't know how much we were waiting for this energy until it showed up. We have got some truly exceptional and fortunate celestial occurrences taking place now that will have a lot of us feeling as if the universe has our back in one way or another, or at the very least, able to see the wisdom of how things have played out and the direction in which they're going. It starts early in the week. It will be either late Sunday in the Americas or Monday in the rest of the world when we are going to have a remarkable celestial transit. This is the sun speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter. Sun trine Jupiter energy truly is one of the high points of the year, and one of those times when it can feel as if, I'm going to use the word luck. Luck is very much on our side at a time like this. And so the sun right now is moving through the energy of Scorpio, the sign of Scorpio, which is in itself speaking to profound truth and profound transformation as well. It is, of course, Jupiter that is moving through its ancient home sign of Pisces. So already it is Jupiter that is at the height of its power. And that is just one of the reasons why. I'll talk about the other big reason in just a second. But these two energies connecting, the sun and Jupiter, it magnifies the good that solar energy of confidence and light, and the way in which you're able to touch on a prophecy that is good. And what I mean by that is it is the sun that was the ancient Greek god Apollo. And Apollo was a fascinating energy because Apollo had to do with rationality, but also prophecy as well. In fact, there is a temple to Apollo that you can find in Delphi in Greece. And what used to happen back in the day, way back in the day, essentially they didn't know it at the time, but there were some gases that were being emitted from the ground. And there were these women there, they were considered prophetesses, and people would go to the oracle at Delphi and they would ask a question. And of course, it was thought at the time that these women were just inspired by spirit. Again, later on, they found out, oh, there were gases here, and these women were getting high on the gases, but, high on gases, high on life. It's all good because these women would give prophecies and people would come from far and wide. This would be like a pilgrimage to people in the region and a special place to go. And so as people came from far and wide, came on this pilgrimage, they would ask a question, they would receive a prophecy, and then they would be left to make sense of it in their own way. As a side note, a very famous prophecy that was delivered by and at the oracle at Delphi was to Socrates. And actually, there is a work by Plato called the Apology. And it is essentially Socrates explaining his actions. And Socrates was put on trial. Now, he was put on trial for charges of corrupting the youth, but actually what it was is that he ticked a lot of people off, powerful people off at that. And so it was Socrates who was having this way in which he would talk to people and ask them questions that would make them feel like they were really dumb. And people didn't like that. And when you look at the apology and what it is that Socrates is saying, how he's justifying his actions, because of this action, he's being put on trial. And he is saying that he went to the oracle at Delphi, and the oracle told him that he was the most intelligent of all the men, of everybody he was going to meet, that he was right there in his smarts. And Socrates couldn't accept that, couldn't believe it. And as a result of not believing it, he would go around talking to different people, especially people who presented themselves as being very smart, very learned, very powerful. And he would question them in a way where he was looking to and hoping to see that this person was more intelligent than him, but he never could find that person. And so what ends up happening, it is the apology that is sort of Socrates' explanation. And then Socrates was sentenced to death, and he had to drink hemlock, which had very strong nicotine, and he goes into the annals of human history, right, to influence philosophy students for centuries and centuries to come, from here and from there as well. So to come in the future from now, but also that has come in the past as well. Okay, so that's a bit of a side note, but it's interesting to me that this place, Delphi, is where people went to receive a prophecy, but this is ultimately an entire extended temple, the sacred space dedicated to Apollo. And it is the inscription on top of the temple at Apollo that in one way can be translated to say, know thyself and the wisdom of the universe will be available to you. So that phrase is actually there as an encryption at the doorway, if you will, to the temple at Apollo. I'll try to remember to link some photos here. I know that it was a few weeks back I shared some photos from Greece when I went to Greece. I'll try to share some photos specifically of the temple of Apollo, specifically of the oracle at Delphi. And so I share all this because to the ancients, there was this understanding that solar energy is not just of rationality, which tends to have a greater emphasis today, especially in modern astrology, but also when you think about astrological systems. The astrological systems of the East, like Vedic astrology, tend to emphasize the moon in the astrology chart. They place greater importance on the moon. And the moon is thought to be a symbol of family and community. But it is in more Western traditions that there is greater emphasis placed on the sun. The sun represents the individual power. It represents a sense of us being aware of what is going to help us to feel more like ourselves. And in being more ourselves helps us to feel lighter as we move through the world. Not burdened from the expectations of the past because we're living from a place of greater authenticity. And in order to do that, there has to be a balance between the rationality of seeing things in a measured way, but also the energy of prophecy, the ability to be able to look forward and to look forward with hope and with a more philosophical sense. That is how we are able to maintain ourselves in times when sometimes it can feel like the energy is in an ebb, right? Sometimes it can feel like the energy is waning, but it is ultimately our hope in ourselves, our hope in our future, and that sense that we can glimpse a more hopeful future that ensures our spirits stay up so that we can navigate through more challenging times. Well, then we get to moments like this, and a lot of it seems to pay off. If you think about the horoscope that I gave last week, and I spoke about how there was that sense of needing to navigate some difficult emotions for some of us. This is where that work we did last week starts to pay off. There is this sense of possibility and progress and a sense of feeling especially fortunate, us being ourselves and being aware of where healthy transformation is ready to take place, that we're able to allow that sense of change that creates even more enthusiasm for what is ahead. This is about that prophecy that glimpses what it is that we have yet to do in this lifetime, all there is yet to live for, all there is yet to experience, and at the same time to find magic and mystery and purpose in the here and now, in today. It is being able to see things from a measured enough perspective, a rational enough perspective, so that we can make the most of this moment that we are in, not placing too much emphasis on one form of being than another. For example, you think about the elements, right? All of the elements in astrology represent an important mode of being in the world and important parts of our human experience. And so it is air that represents the intellect and mind. It is water that represents emotion and intuition. It is earth that represents practicality and physicality. And it is fire that represents spirit and creativity. And so these are just a few very short keywords to understand the elements, sort of as a very basic foundational understanding to these core energies that are part of each and every one of us. And so you think about the sun holding heat and fire, right? That is so creative. But it is the sun and Jupiter both that are moving through water signs. So there's an element here of intuition. There's an element here of emotion and flow. But because of the very nature of the sun, chances are we are going to find a more measured approach. We're going to find a way to turn intuition and emotion and all the power of feeling so that we're able to have an intuition into our future, cultivating prophecy, but also the power of the sun and its ability to be rational that'll help us to align that much more with that more inspired future that we may glimpse now. But for all that, look, in a very like a mundane, immediate way, if you are a person who likes to use the energy of the sky to your advantage, which is a very powerful way to cultivate a connection with the sky, to cultivate wisdom with astrology, well, look, the sun trine Jupiter is thought to be one of the most fortunate days of the year. On Wednesday, we've got some truly remarkable energy playing out. On the one hand, we have a new moon in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is one of the home signs of Jupiter, and it is this new moon that is going to be not too far away in the sky from both Venus and Mercury. And so the energy of Sagittarius itself, I mean, it's just the day before that the sun moves into this part of the sky. It was last week that we had Mercury and Venus move into the sign of Sagittarius as well. And so Sagittarian energy, well, it's thought to be a party, right? This is where holiday events start to kick into gear, and many of the traditions, the religious traditions around the world, tend to have important holidays, particularly important celebrations that show up right around this time during the astrological month of Sagittarius. There's a reason for that. It's because it is an energy of enjoying yourself and just allowing yourself to enjoy, allowing yourself to go over the top or maybe go a little bit too far, but have fun in the process. And a part of the reason is that Sagittarius and Jupiter that rules Sagittarius, well, there's this sense of optimism and possibility that tends to be very strong during Sagittarius season and when we have a dominant sense of Sagittarian energy in the air. But here's the thing, the truly remarkable thing, the thing that stands out to me more than anything is the fact that 5 minutes after the new moon perfects is the exact moment when Jupiter will go direct. And so this week, with Jupiter essentially standing still in the sky, at the height of its power, as close to the Earth as it might otherwise get, this is the moment where, under the light of a new moon that connects with that Jupiter, we are going to find a sense of inspiration and a sense of possibility just open up to us. And so much of us is invested in this process and invested in this journey as well. If ever there was a new moon that felt especially fortunate, this really would be it. It is this new moon that likely is going to feel as if worlds open up to us, new ideas, new experiences that help us to cultivate a genuine sense of enthusiasm and optimism for what could be ahead. Now, of course, this is going to be a general feeling that a lot of us are having right now, but the monthly horoscopes that are here on my YouTube channel do focus in on what this energy could mean for you and your sign. And I'd like to invite you to check that out now. Having said that, have a look at the fact that with this energy happening so close after that Sun trine Jupiter that we start the week with, keep in mind that it is Jupiter and this new moon that are in orb, although this is not considered a true trine. And what I mean by that is normally for a trine to be considered a true trine, it is when both planets involved in this supremely harmonious conversation are both in the same element. That's not the case here. However, it is this new moon and Jupiter that are within orb, we would say. They are still holding tight a supremely harmonious connection, although there is some space between it being exact. That energy is still with us as we navigate to the light of this new moon for all of us now. And so wherever it is that you really are hoping for that extra boost, that extra lift from the universe, where it is you may have been waiting for a sense that your blessings are finally starting to kick in, and especially starting to kick in again, this is where we might start to feel that much more aware of how it is that the universe may be trying to bless our lives. Consider that this is an important moment of the larger Jupiter in Pisces transit. We are in chapter 3, the final chapter. As Jupiter now turns forward, Jupiter will march forward and will leave the sign of Pisces next month, not to return for well over a decade. And so this is one of the last really big moments of Jupiter blessing a particular area of your sky, of your chart, based on your sun sign, based on your rising sign as well. And so if you have felt stagnant in that regard, if you have felt like there were these blessings that were there in the first 5 months of the year and you felt really connected to them, and now it felt as if something had shifted or changed, it is now that chances are you're going to feel like things are finally moving forward for you. They're finally able to move in a direction that's more optimistic, more hopeful, and more exciting as well. Now, if you're a regular watcher of my weekly video scopes, you know, probably isn't going to come as a surprise, I'm about to say there is a special horoscope for Jupiter in Pisces, and I will be sure to link to that below, which is going to help you to understand this transit that much more in that video that is here on my YouTube channel as well. The other thing to keep in mind at this time, and something I was contemplating earlier this week, I had a chance to speak with a superstar, one of my members, just a lovely person. And I said something, and I said, oh my God, I'm going to be sure to talk about this in the weekly video. And I was thinking about how we're coming up to this Sun trine Jupiter and this new moon energy as well. And it was this idea that sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for how much we actually do love ourselves. I think it's very simple to say, like, oh, you have to love yourself, you're going to love somebody else, or if anybody else is going to love you. But there are moments in life when sometimes we may meet somebody who encourages us to raise our standards based on how good they are to us. Now, that's one thing. But I think that sometimes because we are experiencing our lives so up close that we are perhaps much more critical of ourselves than others would be. And often we'll judge ourselves based on our intention, based on our thoughts, that we don't actually completely grasp what our actions are showing us. And I think that if we cultivated that healthy rationality that we may be inspired to cultivate with a week like this, well, that's when we're able to take that step back enough to actually observe that when we look at our actions, we come to realize that, yeah, there have been many moments, perhaps moments as of late, recent moments where we demonstrated that we do have healthy self-love for ourselves, self-value, and self-respect. It is only when we're able to take that step back and able to release judgment of the self that we're able to appreciate how it is that in many ways we are able to be genuinely loving towards ourselves in a way that perhaps we don't always give ourselves credit for. Now, I think that some of this awareness may show up this week as well. And I say that because it is going to be right around Tuesday that Mercury and Venus will meet in the sky. These two planets getting together, gearing up for that new moon, bringing a new perspective. All of this Sag energy, encouraging optimism, encouraging hope, encouraging openness, but also remember, Sag energy is fire energy. It's energy of confidence, energy of creativity, and that thing that gives us spark, that brings light to our soul, that motivates us, that inspires us to move forward. Well, chances are a lot of us are going to feel very awakened by that sense of genuine inspiration, but also deeply connected to enough self-worth and enough self-love and the awareness of self-love to make sure that we make the most of those inspirations and those creative prompts that could find us at this time, leading us on a brand new path in new directions, not only with hope now, but with a real sense that good things can manifest and are yet to be. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It's a valuable astrological moment. I love how the energy now is one of hope and inspiration and openness and excitement. But there's also just luck on offer, where it is that we are willing to cultivate a genuine sense of hope and optimism, but also balance that with a sense of measured perspectives. That's where we're able to tap into the potential of this time that much more. Intuition will be high, but also meaningful transformation rooted in self-love and universal love as well can guide our actions towards a sense of authenticity and a sense of genuine enthusiasm for what is yet to be. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm truly so grateful for you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University, one of your favorite teachers, one of your favorite astrologers is back. It is Mark Lawrenson teaching a 5-week course on the lunar nodes, diving into this very powerful point and symbols in your chart as only he can teach it with that perspective that is so loving, so wise, so hopeful. And as I said, he is a Synchronicity University favorite teacher. So excited to have this caliber of teacher back with us. And this is taking place in January. This 5-week course is a wonderful way to start a new year. And for a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class, an unheard of rate to learn from the likes of Mark Lawrenson from the Sydney School of Astrology. And so this is a full 5-week course. You are going to come to understand the South Node and the North Node and the nuances and the signs and the houses and all of that with greater depth and understanding. Now, part of this is to understand your own karmic journey in this lifetime, of course. But of course, you may use astrology to help others as well. Regardless of where you are in your astrological journey, really, Mark Lawrenson is an incredible teacher, a master teacher, I would even say, in the way in which he can teach to all levels at the same time. Whether you are a beginner and want to start to understand your chart more deeply, or whether it is that you've been a student of astrology for a very long time, decades, in fact, as is the case with me, I always learn something new every time I get to talk to Mark Lawrenson, and every time I get to learn from him. I learn something new about my own chart. I truly believe that he is one of the more outstanding astrological teachers that we have in our field and in our community. And again, I'm just so proud that he has decided to come back to Synchronicity University. Choose Your Tuition Rate is on right now for a very limited time, as low as just $5 a class. It's only at Synchronicity University that Mark Lawrenson teaches at this rate. So I hope that you will join us for this rare opportunity to learn, to dive into the lunar nodes, a 5-week course taught by Mark Lawrenson at synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University is proud to present the one and only Cameron Allen back at Synchronicity University, teaching a 5-week course on medical astrology. From celestial walker to terrestrial medicine, all of that comes together in this remarkable 5-week course taught by Cameron Allen. For a very limited time, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from Cameron Allen. Again, as I said, he is a Synchronicity University favorite. I remember last time how much students loved his course, the way in which he blends so many wisdoms together. Herbalism and medical astrology and traditional established understandings of body, but also more evolved understandings of body and cosmos and how that connects to what's happening on levels of soul, psyche, spirit, and what's happening with you on a level of health as well. It is Cameron Allen that has this wonderful way of presenting that so many students just love. They grab, they run with it. And it is going to be this course that's going to help you to understand yourself, your physicality differently, and help you to see the sacredness in every part of your lived physical experience. So join us for Cameron Allen back at Synchronicity University for a very limited time. Choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from the one and only Cameron Allen at synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust and for seeing me as some part of your sacred journey. I'm truly so grateful for it. Keep in mind, just a little bit of a heads up, this coming weekend is going to be Black Friday weekend. And every year it is a very big deal at my website, on my social media, with all the different things and all the different discounts. And so I hope that you'll be on the lookout for that. We've got some surprises that I hope you absolutely love. And so stay connected at nadiyashah.com. Link is in the description below. Again, thank you for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.